Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast, talking all things the Book of Boba Fett once again. Episode 3 is our discussion point today. I am Sam. If you're new to the show, hello. Welcome in my partner in crime. It's Stefan.
Hey, we're starting this on a very special note.
Okay.
On the day of recording this, it's your birthday.
It is my birthday, yes.
I don't know when we're putting this out live, but on the day of recording it's your birthday.
It's going out today. It will be going out today. So yeah, today is my birthday, the 15th of January.
Sam at stuffandthingspodcast.com. Send him your birthday wishes.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, cards, money, all welcome. Do you know, I did something different in the intro today, and it's something I think we need to start thinking about, is we need to start saying about if you're new to the show, because we are getting a lot of new listeners, which is wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Welcome to the crazy.
Yeah, welcome to the madness. And I've realised that me and you, because we talk about lots of different TV shows, The Witcher, Star Wars, everything Marvel, The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, all these different shows, we have a lot of running jokes for the podcast, which obviously go from show to show.
Yes.
But a lot of our audience, of course, listen to specific things. So I've had a couple of emails recently along the lines of like, hey, I listened to this show and I really enjoyed it. Can you explain what you meant by this? And I was like, yeah, that references to this, which you've not heard.
If you go back to The Walking Dead, season 7, episode 6.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of like a welcome to the madness if you're new. We really appreciate you. We recently did a couple of shows on the new Spider-Man film, which have been our most listened to shows for some time. So
thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, massive thank you for everyone for that. But anyway, today, which is the thing we often get accused of kind of rambling, but I think that's fine. But today, we are talking about the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
the Book of Boba Fett, Season 1, Episode 3.
Chapter 3, yes.
Chapter 3, my friend, and the title of that chapter?
The Streets of Mos Espa.
Yeah, man. The Streets of Mos Espa. For your overall thoughts on the episode, because I've read a lot of stuff online. This episode seems to have got the overall thumbs down from people.
Yeah, like,
what about you?
I'm surprised by this. I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
It is by far the lowest rated one on the IMDb system, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good.
There's a lot of stuff in it that I enjoyed, and there's a lot of stuff in it that I can understand why people didn't like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm enjoying this from a point of view of real fan of Star Wars, love Star Wars. I love the original trilogy because that's my trilogy. Me and you've discussed it before. You know, each generations, if you like, have grown up with different trilogies. So the original is mine. So The Mandalorian and this are set in the kind of era and the visual that makes me feel Star Wars. So I like that. The character of Boba Fett was one that when I was younger, like really young, and the original trilogy out, my older brother was kind of like his favourite character. Okay. Never really understood why. The guy had no lines. It's like he's hardly in it.
4 minutes of screen time or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's something ridiculous. But it seems like he wasn't alone. It's like the character of Boba Fett like resonated on some level. I think it's just he looked cool. And was a bounty hunter, which is cool. His shit was different, which is cool, you know? So yeah, it's kind of great that that's the case. I mean, for me, like, when I was little, my favourite character was Luke. I mean, who else would it be? It was the hero, the Jedi. Yeah. And as I got older, like, teenager, it was definitely Han Solo.
Heck yes.
Yeah. I seem to identify more with him. And then for a time of puberty, it was definitely Princess Leia.
Different reasons.
Yeah, totally different reasons. Just for one scene. But the thing that I absolutely loved about it is the fact that you can watch these films and you go back to these properties and see different things through different eyes as you grow and enjoy it. And so for the Boba Fett kind of thing, when Boba was reintroduced that he was still alive in The Mandalorian, I think all of us just loved that because it was like this character that we all knew, even if we didn't have an affection for him or anything like that. It was just like kind of cool. We know that guy. You know, we know the history of that guy because of the prequels now. You know, with his father and stuff like that. So we know that he's actually a clone, for one.
And it was so cool because, he appeared in The Mandalorian and everyone went mental for it.
Yeah,
Everyone was like, oh my God, it's Boba! And yet, when you think about it, it's a C-list character that had 4 minutes of screen time and 6 lines of dialogue.
Exactly. You know, if you were going to rate him in terms of characters that Jabba the Hutt was more screen time. Hell, Jabba's like manservant got more screen time. You know, some of the droids. So it's kind of crazy, but it was great. You see him come back. The thing I think that people aren't enjoying with the Book of Boba Fett, which is kind of hilarious, it's like in their minds they created what he was. So in their mind, it's like, this is how he talks, this is how he acts, this is how he does things. Yeah. Because it was such small screen time, and then when he came into Mando, he basically just came in as a badass. You know, he came in, beat the crap out of a load of stormtroopers as a badass, flew his ship as an absolute badass. That was it. That was his
best friend is an assassin. That's fairly badass.
That's badass. So that, that is literally the introduction of Boba, is just these clips of him being a badass. But that's because that show was The Mandalorian. It was about Mando. It was about Grogu. So his participation in that, of course, is just limited to the scenes of flying in, flying out, beating people up, and that's it.
Being a badass, yeah.
This show's about him, so this show needs to actually give us some context. It cannot be a clip show of him just beating people up. That's not a show.
25 minutes to 45 minutes, depending what episode it is.
Yeah.
Of just him, fight.
Do you know what's funny is there's people listening, probably going, yeah, that's what I want. That's actually it. That's actually what I wanted.
I want him flying around, kicking the crap out of people, and taking bounties.
I don't want context. I don't want to know anything else about him. Don't care. I just want him to be
very similar to the original first couple of episodes of The Mandalorian. Get a puck. There's my bounty. Let's go and mess them up.
Literally, I think that's what people wanted from this. But the idea,
I'll be honest, that's probably actually what I expected.
It is kind of, because we saw him take Jabba's throne. And that was the precursor setting up this series. Yep. So my pure expectation of this was a kind of Star Wars set, underworld, mafia, the syndicate, stuff like that. Because I became aware of this, like the Han Solo movie does a great deal to show that this underworld exists in the Star Wars universe. Yeah. And like I mentioned to you before, like in the Clone Wars, you get to see it a lot as well, because Anakin and all sorts have to interact with them at different points throughout that. So it's kind of interesting to explore this now live action. So I'm kind of fine with it, but I was just expecting it to be that. I was not expecting the kind of flashback backstory that we're getting, which gives us a lot more context to him as a character, because I think it would be impossible to have such a one-dimensional character lead a show. And what I mean by that is he was one-dimensional. The character he was in the movies, Return of the Jedi, for example, when he got thrown in the Sarlacc pit, was, I'm a bounty hunter. I hunt bounties. That's all I do. There's not a lot there. You don't have anything. He was given a greater context to him by the prequels, because we then learned he was a clone. He was then given even greater context through the Clone Wars animated series, but you've got to remember as well, not everybody's seen that. A lot of people, like who I know, my age, simply didn't watch it because it's animated. That's a kid show. Yeah. Which is fine, and because that's how I felt. And then I watched it and was like, this is awesome.
And it's quite dark in places, yeah.
Oh man, it ain't a kid show.
No.
The final season of that, seriously, I don't think I'd let my daughter sit and watch it. I think she'd cry the whole way through. Like, literally, even the credits to the final season goes red, because it's like, this is the end.
Yeah, blimey.
So it's kind of like, you need to give him some context. We need to know why that one-dimensional bounty hunter that got thrown in the pit isn't the same guy who then fought his way out of the pit.
Yeah.
And we've learned that through the Tusken Raiders storyline.
Now, if you are on our social medias, you'll know that we now have a TikTok as well, and we've put our theories up on there.
Promote that.
So, thanks to the Tusken Raiders and Lucasfilm, we've had our shortest theory so far. 1 week we have a theory of how Boba's got an army behind him, a Tusken Raiders, amazing. And this week we go, okay, maybe not.
Yeah, well, which is hilarious because they've actually done us twice.
Yeah.
So our very first, on TikTok, if you're young and hip like us, says the man turning 39 today, if you're really super awesome cool, then you'll have a TikTok account. And on TikTok we do a 60-second. It's called 60-second theory. 60 seconds is very loosey-goosey, okay?
That's like saying the Book of Boba is 45 minutes each week.
Yeah.
It's roughly.
It's close to a minute, all right? Let's put it that way. So it's as close to a minute as possible, but we call it a 60-second theory. And basically, Stefan gets on in front of the camera, he talks to you, he shows you the visual, and he talks you through a theory. And we do this for all the different things we talk about, be it Marvel, Star Wars, obviously Book of Boba Fett. Everything we talk about, we'll do this. Mm-hmm. So far, we've had 2 Book of Boba Fett theories. The first episode, our theory was that the person who tried to have him killed was the lady in the kind of casino place. The very next episode, boom, that was knocked out of the water.
Yeah.
Our second theory from episode 2 was that Boba's now going to this big fight. He's going to be up against the Pike Syndicate. We thought the Hutts, Boba needs an army. He's got the Tusken Raiders because we're seeing this in Flashback. So our theory was that when it comes time to battle, he's going to call in his favour from the Tuskens. And then, of course, this episode, that theory's gone. I'm almost loathed to come up with a theory now. I'm almost like, if we have a theory off the back of this podcast, we should just shut up.
I thought about it and decided no.
It's almost like if I want to try and dictate what's in next week's episode, I need to come up with the opposite as a theory, and then that'll definitely happen. So my theory is there is no chance next week we're going to have a flashback to Leia in the gold bikini. Absolutely zero chance of that happening. Do you know how creepy would that be if that actually came up? I know there's no real chance of that, but how creepy would that be? Like to the point that it wouldn't be cool. That would just really freak me out.
That's fine. I've wrote down here Sam Leia theory.
Yeah. You just want to do that so you can look at the picture and stand in front of it.
Yep.
Anyway,
we digress.
We need to talk about this episode.
Yes.
Let's, as we're kind of talking about the Tusken Raiders and our theory and how it leads into it, let's start by purely focusing on the flashback.
Yep.
So in this episode, we once again get to see Boba in the tank healing, and that gives us this, flashback moment, and we see him leaving the camp of all the Tusken Raiders, riding a bantha, which I love.
Yeah. They're slow, aren't they, those banthas? I didn't realize how slow those things were.
You're not getting anywhere fast on a bantha, but you are. I personally think you're looking pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and you are definitely getting there. Don't worry about how long it takes. You are going to get there.
You are going to get there, yeah. So he rides in the Mos Espa, and there's a few things in this which are very cool. Mm-hmm. And then there's a few things in this which, in Mos Espa, unfortunately, a lot of people have picked up on, so I do feel I need to say it.
Okay.
So he rides in on the bantha. Is it bantha? Like the with the TH, or a bantha?
I thought it was a bantha.
I think you're right.
I am looking now. I will do my research.
You're on it. Okay, I think it's bantha. So anyway, he rides in, and one of the things we see whilst he's riding in is, if you remember the Mandalorian episode, when Mando arrives in this same place, we see all the stormtrooper helmets on spikes.
Yeah.
When he arrives, you actually see the person doing it. The person is there putting those helmets on spikes.
Yep.
So it kind of gives us a little bit of a timeline, linking in. So his flashbacks, all this stuff was kind of happening not too dissimilar. So you got an idea of time and context. Because you also see in the background of that the mechanic and her droids who Mando interacts with in both seasons. Did you notice her?
I did not notice her.
Ah, man, you got to be loading that up. You'll love it. So he's riding the bantha, and you've got these helmets, and as he's riding past, the camera stays on the helmets, and she walks.
Yeah, there's a woman. She's got 3 little droids running on behind her.
Yes, it's the lady.
That's who it is. That's damn cool.
It's very cool, yeah. So, it's very, very cool. So he arrives there and he's there to meet. Remember, he did that deal with those from the train he stopped, and so he arrives to basically meet their bosses to say, like, did you get my message? They're like, yeah, yeah, subtle as it was, dude. And he arrives and he's basically there to extort protection money. Boba is underworld kind of guy, so he's doing this on behalf of the Tusken Raiders, because we're not allowed to say Sand People anymore. We need to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
Tusken Raiders. Yeah, don't get me started on it. And then the Pikes kind of go like, hey, look, we already pay protection money to this biker gang who we know Boba beat the crap out of in a bar.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not going to pay twice.
Which makes sense as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, in this kind of negotiation, is you do look at it and go, everyone in that room's actually kind of being fair. Like, Boba's kind of stopped their train, straight up murdered loads of their people, hijacked their cargo, and has made it kind of clear that you're doing this across the Tusken's ancestral lands. Therefore, you ain't getting nothing across those lands unless you pay up.
Yeah.
But if you do pay up, then you're fine. They're kind of like, look, business is business. We don't want to go to war over this. We want to just get our stuff through, but we are already paying these people and we're not going to pay twice.
Yeah.
Boba kind of like, okay. So Boba's leaving there on the basis of he's going to go and kill this gang, this biker gang, to take him out. That, that's his solution, isn't it? He's already beaten them up once. I don't think he fears them. He genuinely has a bit of an issue with them because, of course, remember in the flashback, he saw that house being done over and the people being beaten up by this gang because they painted their symbol on the side of the house.
That's it, yeah. It wasn't Uncle Ben's house, but yeah, that one.
No, Uncle Ben. Uncle Owen, Aunt Faru, yeah.
That was it. Oh, yeah, that's it.
You're still
wrong universe. Wrong
still
universe.
It could have been Uncle Ben. Yeah, that's what happened. That's why Peter's pissed. But yeah, so you saw him have this natural instinct to want to go and help them because he kind of went to go, and then that little Tusken who was basically had him as a slave at the point was like,
no, come on, yeah.
So you then get him riding back to the camp. Now, how do you feel about this next scene, man? Because he rides back and he starts to see the smoke and stuff. I'm finding this kind of bizarre. Why should I care about Tuskens? But I do.
I was gutted. Like I think I said during the last podcast that I was actually enjoying the scenes with the Tuskens, more than the up to date not dream.
I think a lot of people are feeling that way because it's given us a greater context to a race in Star Wars that we all knew, so it's familiar, and yet we're learning about them, and it's the kind of parallels with the Native Americans that I felt we talked about in the last one, like the classic Western style.
We've gone from people that just wear funny masks and shake sticks above their head going, to now these people, they've got personalities. They've got, without saying a single line of dialogue.
No, it's sign language, but in essence. Yeah.
And they've all got this personality, and you kind of feel, and then all of a sudden they're all gone, and you're like, oh, what? Why? Am I upset? I'm not upset, but why am I kind of shocked by this?
I'm the same as you. I was kind of like, I was gutted for our theory.
That as well, yeah.
But then I was just like, wow. I think part of it is I didn't see it coming. Yeah. Because, we had this like a slow build, and I thought in my head, because we know he goes to get his armor back after he finds out his armor's out there. Yes. So I thought at some point we'll have him leaving the village, kind of like, I'm one of you now, like we said, maybe he'll go back to them to bring an army down to help him.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it at all. And to see that the youngling had been killed as well, and he put the youngling's staff on the fire.
Yeah, that was damn, why is this hitting fields? They're Tuskens. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
that's
now I do. Okay, this is weird.
So I did kind of have a bit of a moment where I thought to myself, I remember the scene where Anakin ripped through a Tusken village with a lightsaber, with the men, the women, and the children too. And I'm kind of now just like, oh man, that's messed up.
That's the youngling. How dare they? Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely butchered them. So I, like you, I think I just kind of watched that and was like, damn, I wasn't expecting it. Now, we see that happen in this flashback, and we don't get anything else in the flashback because he's kind of rudely awoken.
Oh, isn't he just?
When he wakes up from these flashbacks, we have him wake up in the pod, it drains away, and he kind of gets up, and then we get going. Get going forward. But this time the lid opened and water went everywhere. So I just went, oh, that's weird. I was like, I'm sure that doesn't normally happen.
Does he not normally hit the drain button first?
No, that'd play havoc on the flooring. I was just like I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense.
They live on a planet made of rock and sand. You don't want water over the floors constantly.
Mate, no. Think about it. That's a waste of the water, and especially how much they charge for water, apparently, at this place. And, wow, we got the Wookiee fight so much sooner than I thought we were going to get the big, badass Wookiee.
Yeah, again, we were talking last week about the Black Kurstan.
Yeah.
Or Karistan, or Kurstan.
Yeah, big badass Wookiee dude, as I called him.
And we were talking about, they look like they might have recognised each other, so is it like a case of he might join his side? Apparently, that nod to Boba to say, you're right, mate, was actually him sizing him up, going, yeah, I'd kick your ass.
Basically sized him up as in, okay, that's lunch.
Yeah, I can deal with that, yeah.
So I got a couple of questions for you here, because it doesn't... No one seems to ask this in the episode, and it annoyed me.
Yeah.
No one asks how in the hell he got there.
Yeah, he's got through at least 3 to 4 people and a droid.
How? How in the hell has he got into the palace, got into the room where Boba's being medicated, and attacked him, and no one, how? How is that happening? Is it the palace is mostly deserted and it's a big-ass place, but still, you'd think you'd have droids on some sort of security doing sweeps, some sensors. Hell, and houses have alarms. Surely this place,
We've skipped over a bit actually where he meets his new gang and stuff. So he's even got them in the palace as well.
No, I know.
So added protection. I mean, Black Kurstan is big enough that
I'm going to circle back to the street gang because that's a whole focus I want to talk about.
But this guy's big enough. He's not sneaking through a window.
No, this guy's huge.
And he fights dirty. Yeah. My God, does he fight? He bites. What a bitch.
Yeah. So for a start, this is a bit of pro wrestling parlance a second. So if anyone's a fan of pro wrestling, this will make sense. If you're not, I'm just going to be talking waffle now. But basically, in pro wrestling, you have good guys and bad guys. And one of the ways you distinguish a bad guy, always a villain, is they'll do things dastardly. And one of the dastardly things you'll see them do is brass knuckles.
Yeah.
You, the crowd, see him put it on. The referee doesn't see it. You're shouting, no, look, he's got the brass knucks. And the referee's like, what? What are you on about? And he'll hit his opponent and hide them again. You're like, no! Yeah. So when I saw basically the big badass Wookiee dude line up some pretty nifty electrified brass knuckles spiked there, I was like, what?
This is the bad guy.
This is definitely the bad guy in this fight.
I was waiting for him to get a chair.
By the way, I think Boba went to the Nards a couple of times, which I don't blame him for.
No, I think he did, yeah.
Yeah.
How do I get you down to my size?
So one of the other things I wanted to put you, do you think the reason why he tried to time the attack when he did, as he did, is because they know Boba would be infinitely easier to kill out of that Vespa armor?
Oh gosh, yeah, because the twins even tell him to sleep lightly.
Yeah.
So they must know he's in there.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, you take Boba out of his armor. Obviously, it's going to be easier to kill. You can bite his shoulder easier.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? So, like I said, this gang do show up trying to subdue him. The 2 guards show up as well, and the Wookiee literally bites a chunk out of one of them. I mean, they're like green pig dudes, so I'm guessing that's pork. I don't know.
You just undercooked, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. That planet looks very hot. It could be medium rare.
It could be medium rare, definitely, but still green. I wouldn't bite into any green meat. I'm not gonna lie. But then obviously they trap him down in the dungeon, which is
that
cool.
Scene is brilliant. Just like, stay away from him.
Yeah.
Stay away. Why?
Yeah.
Because
we've got him right where I want him to be.
Yeah.
But it still bothers me that not one person, including Fennec, went, how? How did that monster get into this place and not one person picked up on it?
It was a trap. They let him in.
Oh man, I don't
They
know.
let him in to get him so that they could then get him.
I don't know, because Boba got his ass handed to him. If it was Fennec with like, oh, I know, I'll just let him get in, she should surely have stopped him for a while before that. Because wow, yeah, he was tearing up the place. But one of the things I did find quite interesting in the fight is that Boba, hand to hand, and none of his suit, anything, was able to kind of stand his ground a bit, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, he still got battered a fair bit. But it wasn't like a one-sided... Yeah.
Yeah, you'd expect it. It wasn't just the absolute near-death experience that I was initially expecting.
He comes out and he's just choked against the wall like, well, this is easy.
I did also kind of find it funny that when Boba came into the room after they trapped him, he's basically like putting a robe on.
He's got his dressing gown
yeah, everyone just saw you fight in your pants, dude. You're fine. You know, you're strut it out. You're all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just walks in like putting a bathrobe on. Like, hey everybody, did our house guests leave? No. Yeah. One of the criticisms I'm seeing quite a lot, and it's one of the things I was going to say to you. I think it's a fair criticism. I think it's a fair criticism only in as much as I understand it. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'm happy with what they're doing. But the criticism I'm saying is they feel that Boba got introduced into the Mandalorian and was a badass.
Yep.
We've not seen that in this. He walks away from every fight so far. He's choosing not to kill people, choosing not to do stuff, making choices on a regular basis, which are kind of peace and love rather than anything else. You know, if he was Morgan from The Walking Dead, he's definitely gone down his peace and love path right now. Even in this episode, like, he is attacked by that Wookiee. He's like savage and he lets him go, doesn't kill him. Yep. Even says to Fennec, like, oh, it's either let him go or kill him. So a lot of people are kind of like, why, well, kill him then. So a lot of people are kind of questioning that. A lot of people are questioning that Boba himself is not coming across very strong in this. And I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy with it because I feel like I'm learning more about him.
Yeah, I get you. I actually quite like it. I know, like, a lot of people, like you say, a lot of people are kind of like, no, it's not right, it shouldn't. But I'm actually quite enjoying seeing this other side of him. And
yeah, me too.
The fact he's also there going, no, look, I'm not going to be that guy. He's literally saying to the audience, no, I am not going to be that guy.
It's interesting because, like, he talks, because there's the scene where they're sat and there's all the food on the table. Which, by the way, explains how the hell Boba Fett became freaking huge.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because, like, clearly the Hutts eat well, and clearly that's the thing they do for the people in charge, the daimyo. Because he's like, enough with the food.
I love it. She's there like, hey, you got food, take it, it's fine.
I know, yeah. Fennec's going to be the size of a friggin' house by season 2. Just like, oh, I've been eating all the food because Boba doesn't.
Boba won't eat and it's rude to leave it. Yeah,
exactly. I grew up with nothing. I got to eat it. But yeah, so that was kind of funny. But they're like, there's the scene in that and he's talking about, I need to respond. And she's like, well, you have. They sent one of the biggest, baddest assassins in the universe after you and he's now locked in the dungeon. That's a pretty clear message.
Yeah.
And but his mindset now is like, no, I need to strike back. I need to do something. So it's kind of interesting because, like you said, up to that point, definitely, it was constantly, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to rule with respect, not fear.
Yeah.
And he's talking about that all the time. And to circle back now, before we go on to the meeting with the Hutts, that is demonstrated by the earlier scene where we have this guy come in, who, by the way, I don't know the actor's name, but I see him in so much stuff. He's great.
Oh, yes. That is... I've actually made a note of this. Where is it?
He comes in and does a petition.
Root.
Great. He's great. I like him.
He's been in lots of things. Brooklyn Nine-Nine...
Loads
like
of
that,
stuff, man. He was a vampire in a show I watched years ago called True Blood. The guy's great. I've seen him in loads of stuff, and he's got a really distinct voice. Like, if I hear his voice, I like immediately look up. Like, oh, I know. Yeah, I recognise that guy. So he comes in and petitions Boba. And do you get the impression, by the way, as well? There's a lot of actors who loved Star Wars who are basically on the phone to Jon Favreau right now going, John, just put me in. I'll do anything.
Any lines. Just let me be on screen.
Just let me in there somewhere. Let me be in one of these shows. I don't care if I literally walk up and just go, hey, and walk off again. Just let me be in it. Because there's, like, you're seeing people you recognise on an almost episodic basis.
Yeah.
And it's like, hang on, this is now looking more and more like Jon Favreau's foe is just basically blowing up. Like, John, buddy, long time no see.
You still got to film that series. Wow.
Yeah. Good news for you, man. Yeah. I'm available, yeah. Oh no, we're not actually casting anyone. Write me a scene, John. Write me a scene. I'm going to be on set tomorrow. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm in the area. Just give me 10 minutes. That's all I want.
Yeah. I'm in the area. Oh, really? How close are you? I'm still behind you, John. So it's. I mean, I like that guy. So he does this great. He's basically a bit of an ass, really. He basically buys the water from the moisture farmers and is marking it up ridiculously. I think one of them says it's a month's wages to buy a week's worth of water. That's horrific.
Like, I don't know what they earn there, but gosh.
that's horrendous. Like, so horrendous.
I can understand from a business point of view, you live on a desert, demand is focused, but...
Yeah, water is priced well. So he petitions Boba, like, they're stealing my inventory, they're doing this, they're doing that, and
it's the look on their faces. They're stealing your inventory. You sell water. Yes. Yeah. They're stealing your water.
Yeah,
yes.
But he's like, Boba's like, I grew up surrounded by water. It's like, yeah, well, this planet used to be, but look outside, dude.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I liked about this is the way the guy does it. Like, he's petitioning him and he's going, I'm offended on your behalf that people don't respect you.
Yeah.
I'm offended on your behalf that people think you're weak.
I loved
it's
it.
Like,
yeah.
Wow, what a way of wording that, like, you suck. And if you don't show up and kill these little shits, everyone's going to think you're weak, so you need to do it.
And I'm going to tell them all you suck because you haven't done it. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. He just like, tried to be this master manipulator.
It's worked.
So Boba does rock up. Boba, Fennec, and his green dudes rock up to this gang. So this gang,
this doesn't go how I was expecting it to go. I've got to be honest. I was expecting this to be another scene like where he walks into the bar, bang, 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 asks no questions, and just goes done and walks away. What actually happens is the complete opposite of that. They turn around and say, who's actually the one stealing it? Basically, they're like, who's stealing here? Us taking water to survive, or this guy selling the thing that we need to survive, for a month's wages for a week's worth of water? Yeah. Who's the crook here? And
what's interesting... What's interesting, again, is, like, I think Boba Fett, maybe a year ago, does what you said. Walks up, shoots them all, leaves one survive to tell everyone else the message, you don't mess with Boba Fett, and walks off.
Yeah.
I think now, when they said that, like, because I think one of them's being a bit backchatty, like, we know who you are, old man. And he kind of, like, grips his gun a little bit, and you're thinking,
doesn't give him any respect at all, does she?
Like, someone's going to get kneecapped, at the very least, someone's going to get done. And when he takes his helmet off, I'm like, what? And you could see that he's kind of like, okay, all right, you got no work. You come work for me.
Yeah.
So the scene is great, I think, and it makes perfect sense. He needs to build up his own guard, if you like. He needs to build up his own family, his own people working for him. It makes perfect sense, and the points they made perfect sense. The trader guy comes out, like, because he's been listening. Oh, no, don't let them off. And he's like, you're going to take 500 credits and you're going to shut up.
Yeah, they owe me 13,000. He's 500.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
But they owe me this much. No, they don't. And if you got a problem with it, I'll deal with you. And this guy's like, oh, thank you. Yeah, great. Cheers. Yeah. Amazing.
I feel like he's going to come back. This isn't the last we've seen of that guy.
No, I think we're going to see a lot of little bit of infighting and backbiting and backstabbing going on. But the thing I want to talk about really is this gang that he kind of recruits. Because I've seen a few things. Well, to be honest with you, I've overly seen the Power Rangers thing said because of how colourful they are.
I've not seen that. They've compared them to the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts? Because it's funny, because I watched it the first time.
That's funny.
And the first time I watched it, it was in my brain. I was like, this is a nod to something, and I don't know what it is. And it was bugging me. It was like really bugging me. It was like I know why they're colourful, and I can't get my like. It was like right there, like I know why they've done this.
Yeah.
And I could not, for the life of me, work it out. When I watched it a second time, it wasn't in my head at all. Like the second time, I just looked at it and went, "It doesn't look right. They look too colourful compared to everything else. It's weird. I just don't do it." Finally, I saw someone on the wonderful app that is Twitter put a tweet out, and I was like, yeah, that's what was on my mind. So George Lucas, before he made Star Wars, did a film which won him a lot of critical acclaim, and it was called American Graffiti. And American Graffiti was about an American street gang that had these ridiculously colourful bikes, cars. They were like really colourful, really modified vehicles. It's a nod to that.
Nice. Okay.
It's a little George Lucas, warm hug from these guys back to George.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was bugged me so much. And it's kind of cool. It's a nice little thing, but at the same time, I do understand the criticism that they stand out like a sore thumb, and it looks a bit odd.
Yeah, the Vespa. I've seen them called the Vespa Crew.
Yeah.
Which I love Vespas, so to me, I thought that was quite cool. But, oh man, the Power Rangers.
That's the Italian in you. That's the Italian.
Yes.
Vespa ciao.
Oh man, no, the Power Rangers is going to stick. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've seen
Bomber
that
and the Power Rangers.
I'm amazed you haven't seen that's everywhere. Like literally, someone's redone the scene where they go chasing after the car, and at the start of the scene, the music goes, "It's morphin' time," and like they've done the like literally they go charging off on their bike anyway.
That's awesome.
So this group does join, and this group, like we said, they're involved in the fight to subdue the big badass Wookiee dude, which is far more fun for me to say than his real name. And they are part of that. Now this brings us back up to date then. So this brings us back to them sat at that table like we discussed earlier on, and Boba gets the news that the twins have shown up at his door. Which gives us another chance to see these poor guys carrying the twins.
Yeah.
Which
Ultimate Star Wars fans.
Yeah, which again just cracks me up that these guys are like... I mean, think how hot Tatooine is. Yeah. They're having to carry them. I mean, geez.
Can you imagine the smell?
Yeah, just so messed up. So bad. So
people
bad.
Walking at the back of that.
How much of an asshole at school must you have been that's your job now,
Yeah.
What qualifications, what do you put on a CV? Well, what did you do in your last job? Carried the Hutt twins around?
I carried the slugs.
Wow, yeah, dude, you must be strong. Oh, you got no idea. You have no idea. The other thing that I find funny about it as well is we live in the Star Wars universe where hover technology exists.
Not for those fat. No.
They are basically demonstrating their power by forcing people to carry them on a sled thing or whatever they call. What do they call it? The litter. No, the litter. They're literally making them carry it on that litter as a show of power and everything. When they do live in an age where the technology is that thing could just hover them around.
Do you know what? I hadn't even thought of that. Is that just purely a power trip?
It's gotta be, and that's gotta be like we're big fat slugs, but you humans are still beneath us.
Yeah,
it's gotta be. It's just so. And like when they finish talking and they want to leave, and these poor guys have got to like shuffle around to turn them around. It's just such a funny visual.
It's great, isn't it? It's just so good to watch.
But so they rock up to apologise, which is hilarious. They're like, yeah, we sent someone to try and kill you. It didn't work. But as it turns out, we're leaving because we don't want to get into war with another crime syndicate family.
I love that. It's bad for business.
Yeah, it's bad for business being an all-out war, so we're going to leave. And he's kind of like, well, who is it? And what we find out is that slimy, snivelling mayor has actually done a deal with the Pike Syndicate.
Yes.
And they are arriving, and they are going to be taking over this land, and Boba's going to be in a direct fight with them, which is kind of funny, because, of course, in his flashbacks, he's basically trying to extort them for the Tuskens.
Yeah, so it's nice how that's kind of come full circle.
Yeah, that's kind of That's going to be interesting how that merges. I imagine that's going to merge together quite well.
Yeah.
And so he's like with the Hutts, kind of like, okay, but can we just do this deal where you agree that we're done? And the Hutts are like, dude, you should leave. we're getting the hell out of here.
It's not so much the Hutts are agreeing to leave him alone. It's more the Hutts are going, no, seriously.
Yeah.
We're leaving. You leave too, please.
Yeah.
Like,
and so
they've gone from trying to kill him to warning him to run for his life anyway.
So they offer him a gift. The gift is a new Rancor.
Yeah, it is. A baby one.
A baby one.
Huge.
And it's still fucking huge. It's a monster. But did you notice the actor who's like the Rancor trainer? Dude, I mean, talk about just famous faces appearing in Star Wars. This guy rocks up. I'm like, okay, for one, I know the director of Boba is basically those two are super tight, you know.
Yeah.
It's like basically if you got a Tim Burton film about Helena Bonham Carter, it isn't a Tim Burton film. Yeah. So they're like, this guy Rodriguez shows up, and this guy's going to be there at some point. But still, it was just such a nice kind of like, oh wow, I know that guy.
Danny Trejo. He's in like all sorts of random things everywhere.
Just amazing. Yeah. One of his favourite things From Dusk Till Dawn is a Tarantino thing.
Yeah.
He's in that. It's just crazy film. But anyway, he talks about the rank. So I know this is skipping on, and so we're gonna do this in bits, but just focus on this for a moment.
Kind of full gimple on me now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm jumping all over the place. He basically says to him, you know, like, oh, they're really loving creatures and they'll imprint on you. That's why we got the eyes covered.
Yeah.
Is there any part of you that isn't buying that this is a gift and actually this is the Hutt's final middle finger and this Rancor's going to try and rip Boba apart?
Well, yeah, the more that the Rancor keeper is talking to him, the more I'm there going, wait a minute.
Is it just that we're naturally suspicious by nature due to the kind of shows that we watch?
I mean, the casino lady kind of gives that maybe. But
yeah. Do you think that should be our theory for this week? Because blatantly we've been getting it wrong so far. But just, like, Boba leaves and the monster kind of, like, turns his head and the guy goes, don't worry, he'll be back. And you don't know, that could be two completely ways. Like, the Rancor is imprinted on him straight away, so the keeper's kind of like, don't worry, you know, he'll be back. Or it's, don't you worry, you'll get your chance.
Yeah,
you
can eat him later. Yeah.
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 So there we go. That could be our 60-second theory that actually it's the ultimate middle finger from the twins, and this monster's been trained since birth to eat him.
Yeah, every day he wakes up with a picture of Boba slapping.
Shown a picture of him on his food.
Yeah.
See this guy? Food. Think food. I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of crazy, but it would be funny.
There's a guy dressed up as Boba Fett just walks in and slaps him in the face every morning.
Did you get the super Star Wars nerdy reference whilst he was talking to the keeper about having ridden creatures 10 times the size?
No. I heard him say the line and then my brain went,
Nah, there was a really awful animated Christmas special, I think, in the 80s.
I have heard of this.
Yeah, and Boba Fett is in it, and Boba Fett rides this strange-ass creature that's huge. So that's what that is. That's just a little nod.
Isn't that like the most famous Star Wars thing that most people haven't seen because it was so awful?
It is.
It's been like destroyed.
So awful. I mean, there's like there's a Christmas special that's live action as well with Mark Hamill in, and if you ever see the footage of it, it doesn't look like Mark Hamill, but it's him.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's so bizarre. Like the makeup they put, I have no idea. It's weird. Like I can't.
The 80s were
even...
a strange place.
The 80s were strange. I mean, some of the best people were born there, but you know, that's putting that out there. So that brings us back to the scene with the twins, and that brings us back to the moment where the black chrysanthemum is brought
given
out
to them as a tribute.
Yeah, and the twins basically are like, oh, sell him back to the gladiators, we don't care.
Yeah.
And Boba then frees him, which I'm kind of hoping means that this guy's going to look more favourable, you know, perhaps show... Because, like, to me, I was kind of hoping Boba was going to turn around and go, well, you got your choice, you can be free, or if you'd like, you can stay and work for me. Yeah. I was kind of really hoping that, because I'd like to keep the big badass Wookiee dude around. However, he lets him go and just says to him, no hard feelings, friend. I used to be a bounty hunter, but take my advice, don't work for slug holes, I think he said.
That's it, yeah.
And he just runs off.
Well, of course, because Boba worked for Jabba to give him ham and stuff. So, yeah, he knows how the huts work, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, basically, that was the job that got him nearly killed.
Yeah.
It was the fact that he took Han, he ended up at Jabba's palace, and then ended up being thrown in the Sarlacc pit. So, yeah, don't work for these assholes. It's nothing but trouble.
Yeah, not worth the life insurance, yeah.
Absolutely not. Not worth the damage to your suit.
But then the Black Kassan just jogs off.
Yeah, literally jogs off. Jog on, and off he goes. We then have the situation where once again they're going to go and see the mayor, Fennec and Boba. They
and
go
the Power Rangers.
And the Power Rangers, yeah. Go Power Rangers.
I actually started crying. That made me laugh so much.
You're gonna love some of the videos I'm gonna send you when we're done.
Yeah.
So they go there, and once again this Weasley snivelling guy just like, oh, he's busy, and then he goes and locks the door, and Boba's like, really?
Yeah. Hold up.
He tries to run, and we then have a speeder chase between the Power Rangers. We're gonna have to keep going with that now, and this guy. Again, criticism online. It didn't feel like a very high-paced chase. People felt it felt a little bit slow.
In fairness, it didn't feel like a high-speed pursuit.
No, it didn't. But someone else has also pointed out something which I'm going to admit I did spot as well.
Yep.
And I did pause to see if I was right. The editing for the show has missed. Basically, they did a drone shot, an aerial shot of the chase.
Mm-hmm. You
can see that it's a set. You literally see in the episode the wood frame of the buildings.
No way!
Yeah, it's Mos Espa, literally like this building, and it looks like Mos Espa looks like a bone.
You mean it's not real?
I'm sorry to say, man, no, it's a set. I'm just impressed it's a set and it's not CGI, to be honest with you, but it's basically wooden.
Yes,
you can see it, and it's kind of. I was kind of sad because I spotted that and I was like, oh, now I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
Getcha, yeah, no.
And then I saw everyone pointing out.
As well. But one of the things for me I liked is the fact that we talk about this whole realism concept a lot.
Yeah.
And they are literally going through very crowded market streets.
Yeah.
That are very thin, lots of things overhanging and all that. And the fact that if it had been a high-speed pursuit chase...
Yeah.
It would have looked so wrong. It had to be slow and careful,
you're absolutely spot on, stuff. Man. Yeah.
I think that made it better.
I felt it was fine. I felt it made perfect sense because they were hitting stuff constantly.
Yeah.
Every time you turned a corner, you ran into something.
Yeah.
And then eventually, that's how he wipes out, ends up in that big thing of that weird ass fruit.
Yeah. No idea what fruit that is, but yeah.
But the thing that made me laugh is, of course, that happens. They've all caught up to him, and Boba lands. It's like, right, so you are using the jetpack sometimes then, you lazy bugger. Jeez. Maybe the fuel for it's like hell expensive, so he's trying to use it really sparingly.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, if the water's that expensive, then yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, absolutely bang on. But yeah, he does just land there, and it's kind of like, oh, this guy's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've made me use my jetpack.
Yeah. Do you
have
know
any idea
price?
How much that costs? Yeah. It's like buying petrol in the United Kingdom right now. So yeah, I mean that's the episode really. I mean, are there any other bits that you picked up on in the episode you wanted to dive into?
Not that I can think of, top of my head. I'll be honest.
No, me neither. I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm enjoying it, and it feels like the story's progressing episode after episode, which I like. It feels like the sort of flashback elements is. You can see the path of it catching up, so it's kind of interesting because you are literally getting the gap filled in.
Yeah,
which I like. It's a flashback which makes sense. It's a flashback that kind of gives us greater context to the decision making he's doing. So I'm like I said, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying the show. I can't wait for next Wednesday to watch the next episode. I'm looking forward to talking to you about it again. But yeah, man, that's us done. Massive thank you to everybody for listening. I know a lot of people are really enjoying the Star Wars stuff at the moment, so please get in touch with us. Let us know if you spot anything or anything you particularly enjoyed. We will be back next week talking more about it. If you're a fan of The Witcher, look out for our next Witcher show where we'll be breaking down the events of Season 2, Episodes 4, 5 and 6. That'll be out real soon. Until then, all of you, take care.
Stay safe, take care, and go Power Rangers!
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.